everyone, welcome to another episode of History in the Making, Sims 4 Edition, where we bring the past to life through the lens of one of my favorite games. Our favorite games, The Sims 4. In today's episode, we're focusing on Sears Modern Home number 8, which is a beautiful design for the early 1900s from the Sears Homes 4th edition for 1908. This series combines two of my passions, The Sims and history. Together, we'll explore not just the process of building these incredible homes in the game, but also the stories behind them, their architecture, their cultural context, and the world in which they were built. So this house might be right after the first episode's Modern Home number 107, but they are different in many more points and ways that we will see throughout the video. I will not beat around the bush with this one, so let's get to it. So as you can see right now, I chose a 20 by 30 lot, I believe. I still haven't gotten the time to clean the whole world just so it can be more historically accurate, I think. But I think I'm going lot by lot in this one so I don't just waste time cleaning everything around. So the house plan. Let's talk about the layout of House 108, which is a classic design with a reception hall that would impress visitors as they entered. Beyond that, the home includes a parlor for entertaining, a formal dining room, and a functional kitchen connected to a pantry. They really loved their pantry at the time. And upstairs, the bedroom were modest but comfortable, reflecting the practicality of the time. I had to create one extra bedroom than what the plan asked for because the dimensions were a little weird. So yeah. And then the bathroom was very simple. Obviously, it was the early 1900s, as plumbing was becoming more common, but luxury features like showers weren't yet typical. Even in a house like that, like having a shower wasn't that common, I would say. In recreating this layout in The Sims, I wanted to stay true to the balance of charm and functionality these homes were known for. So if you notice me pausing in the game, it's because I spent time studying the original floor plan to just make sure I got it right. And people who are actually masters at creating homes are probably looking at me saying like, what are you doing? This is not how you should be doing it. And I'm so sorry. I'm not a builder, and especially with the roof, I think I said it the last episode. I'm not a builder. I don't really do roofs. I just either take a house from the gallery usually, or I try to create one, but it's never, especially the outside, it's never that intricate. So let's just so everybody is on the same level, just a parlor room. I just wanted to mention that it's like a reception hall, like a living room, but it's not the same, I would say. Like basically a parlor room is a house traditionally used for receiving guests, considered the most formal room in home. And the reception hall is a large formal room near the entrance where guests were initially welcomed and received. It sounds the same, but in my mind, you would receive like your future son-in-law in the parlor room, but after the wedding, he would be transferred into the reception hall, I believe. So a quick look at House 108. So Sears offered these homes as pre-cut kits shipped straight to the customer's door, complete with all the materials and constructions needed to assemble them. At the time, this house was priced at $1,635. While it may not sound like much today, that's like a paycheck or like half of one paycheck for some people. That was a significant investment for many families. Adjusting for inflation, this equates to approximately $55,000 to $65,000 today. We will take the lower end of this bracket and work with it. Right now, you can see that unfortunately, I have the amount set as infinity. Like when you create a home straight from the gallery, not a gallery, the main menu. I realized that a little later. I'm gonna fix it, like deduct the price of the shell because I think I had the time to finish it, and then continue with the rest of the build because I had to create like a household, and I just went with what the game gave me, like a regular guy, and he looks a little too fruity from the early 1900s, but we're just gonna go with it because just for the sake of, see, I just realized, just for the sake of the gameplay. So there he is. He looks very fruity. There he is. I forgot his name. And I just deducted the amount that the house was. Now, the reason why it was 77,000 simoleons, that was me looking for the house in my gallery. I was like, oh my god, where it is? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? But I found it. Okay. So, um, so we took the lower end of that bracket, which was $55,000, and we added about 18,000 to it, I believe. So, um, so now the fact that this house was about 55K at the time, it was a symbol of upward mobility and stability. Sears designed it with comfort and charm in mind. Charm, I mean, not charm. Charm in mind, perfect for families looking to settle in the growing suburbs of cities like Chicago, Cleveland, and Philadelphia. Now, in 1908, furnishing a house like this one from the Sears catalog would cost about $600 to $800 at the time. This figure includes essentials like furniture, appliances, and decor typical of the time. It would be approximately between $18,000 to $24,000 today. That's why I put it as 77K total, which would be for the house plus the furnishing. I just want it to be as accurate as possible, even if um, it wasn't 100% the case. So right now I am trying to make this look as um, accurate as possible based on the picture, especially with like the lengths of the length of the windows with the colors. I know that at the time they would be more into um like dark wood, so that's why they didn't really want to go to um lighter color wood, even though in the picture it looks like the frame of the windows was white. I don't know why I went with brown. Maybe because it looks more browner to me. I think so, but I'm not sure. But we'll see how it, I mean, I think it looks okay, right? I mean, not right, but like, you know what I mean. So a house like that would typically belong to a middle to upper middle class family, not too rich, but not too poor, not poor at all, for 55K in 1908, right? The husband might have been a banker, a lawyer, or even a manager at a local company, earning about $1,200 per year, which would be about $40,000 today. Now, what was I imagining for this? What I was imagining for this house was that the dad actually worked at the bank, and the mom was a stay-at-home mom, and then there was a boom in I don't know, some sort of new mine that they discovered, and since he was such a loyal employee, I think one of the owners of the banks were like, hey, typically we don't offer this kind of incentive to our employees, but you've been so good to us, so we are gonna offer you like 0.5% or like 1% return of this mine, because probably the dad put some money aside, if you know what I mean, wink wink, for the bank owners. So they gave him this as like an incentive for being a good employee, so that's why he could afford this house. So, the wife, as was common for the time, likely stayed home to manage the household and raise the children. That's why I just said that he was a banker and got like a very, very great raise, if I can put it like that. Um, that's why they could afford this home. So their lives would have revolved around family dinner in the formal dining room, entertaining guests in the parlor, and tending to the yard and garden. A sign of pride for many homeowners at the time. Children in this family might have attended local schools, and the family would have been part of a growing suburban community. And now I am having the time of my life with this piece of roof up front, like from the porch, the front porch, because I couldn't get it as um I don't know what kind of degree that would be, but like as not straight as the picture, and I couldn't get it to really touch the other roof that went down on it. And now I'm looking for a good flooring for the porch and the rest of the house. They would most likely have hardwood throughout the house, especially in um the hall, not the kitchen, but like the dining room and the rooms upstairs. And I would change the floor in the parlor to carpet because they would 100% have carpet in there. The bathroom was tiles and were tiles, yeah, and the kitchen would be linoleum, 100%. So the house design and the interior design of 1908 homes like this one leaned heavily on natural materials and muted tones, hence me going with like the darker wood. The walls would often feature floral or stripped wallpaper, and the floors were typically hardwood, accented by colorful rugs. Furniture was heavy and ornate, crafted from dark woods like oak and mahogany. I don't know really um, what is oak or mahogany in the game, but I believe oak would be darker than mahogany. I'm not sure, but we'll see how it looked at the end. In the parlor, I wanted it to be very bright, so I took the floral wallpaper and put it in there instead of like the rest of the house. The house the rest would be pretty toned wallpaper, yeah, throughout the house. But I wanted the parlor to be very bright because this is where they would receive their most notable guests, basically. And when it came to the core, houses often had china cabinets, decorative mirrors, potted plants, and framed photographs. You're gonna see that I really, really leaned into photographs in this home, which low-key made me not have any more funds somewhere at the end. But I think I did a good job, especially in the parlor. You're gonna see that. And the goal was to create a warm, inviting space that reflected the family's taste and success. Taste and success, yes. Backyards weren't as decorative as they are today, but many families took pride in their outdoor spaces. So, I didn't want it to look like nowadays backyards, like a pool or very intricate details. So I still wanted it to look like, hey, it's 1908, but it's like, hey, it's 1908, but we have a little bit of money, you know? A well maintained garden with flowers and perhaps a vegetable patch was common. Fences were usually simple, making property lines rather than making a bold statement. The front yard, meanwhile, might feature a walkway lined with shrubs or flowers to create a welcoming entryway. Did I put a walkway? Probably not. I was really into overcoming the challenge that this house was. Not starting, but continuing with the stairs. I wanted to look the exact same way that it looks in the plan. So I spent like a good 2-3 minutes trying to figure out how to put it so I don't need to move any other wall in the house, but it's actually very actually functional in the house. So that's what I did and try to give it like a more dark aspect compared to our regular stairs. So I didn't want it to look like too modern. If I think it makes sense. Yes, it does. So yeah, I was looking like on many angles, through many angles, to just make sure that all of this is correct and that it actually looked like the plans that I had from like almost 115 years ago. And like I said, the wallpaper is pretty simple. And what am I doing? Okay. And I didn't want to go too too deep into it because I had other things that I had to figure out how to do. And I looked at the amount of money that I had and I was like, oh, that's a lot. I don't know if I can spend all of this. I actually did. And I had to sell quite a few things so it actually would make sense. So in the bathroom, they would have like a checkered um floor. So that's what I put upstairs. And the walls would be plaster on top and tiles at the bottom, which you're gonna see what I'm gonna do upstairs. So now that we are in the parlor, which I think I don't know the vibes that I wanted to go with in this one, but it was more like warm and inviting. I looked at some pictures um on Pinterest and I wanted it to be like these pictures. They were very warm, I would say, and very cluttered. I didn't know exactly how I would make this room cluttered. I have a lot of clutter, but I didn't want to make it too much or not enough. I maybe it wasn't not enough. I think in my brain, what I wanted to have was like a sofa of some sort and a grand piano, 100%, because that was a part of the pictures that I saw, and some chairs, like single chairs around the room. I think I didn't have that many chairs, but I had enough. I would say, like, I mean, 2 or 3 chairs. Something else, and I'm gonna change it later on. They wouldn't have open entryways in there is the grand piano. They wouldn't have open entryways in these kind of homes. They would have um the swinging doors, like the western kind of movies. They would have those kind of doors, or a regular closed door that you would have to open and close. So I'm looking for the right carpet. I would probably have to get some more CC carpet. I think I already did it, but I was like, I want a carpet. This one is great. I actually love this one, but I wanted a carpet that looked like the vibe that I wanted to go for, but that didn't look too shabby, if I can put it like that. I mean, yeah, I can, but I believe that they would have somewhere to put their little tea bag, not tea bag, but like tea. And so I changed the chair. I love this chair. The chair looks like it's been in the house for quite a while, but they don't really use it. And these two chairs would be the main chairs where people would sit, and obviously the sofa in the back. And so right now I'm fixing the windows, and the chandelier. They would 100% have chandeliers, a chandelier in their home. and I wanted one that didn't look too modern, like the ones that we have with the multiple packs in the game. So this one, I don't know where it came from, but it looks really like, oh, this is not electricity. This is like real. What's the word? Forgot what it is. Oops. Anyway, um, so I am adding the photographs now. My other backstory for this house would be that the banker and his wife would actually be from a very large family, two very large families actually, like 4 or 5 kids each. So they have a lot of siblings, not 4 or 5. At the time, it would be like 7 or 8 actually. So that's why they would have so many pictures. And it would be pictures from their great grandmas, their great grand uncles, etc., etc. So a lot of family pictures were involved in this. Like these war pictures, like the two portraits that I have here, they wouldn't really make sense unless they were just like in the army, because the First World War wouldn't happen, and I'm gonna talk about this a little bit, but they would still have people in their family enrolled in the army, I would say. So while a bit well, so yeah, and I'm gonna that is the vestibule, and I forgot to mention this. I'm losing track. So the vestibule would be where you would enter the house or before you get in the house. So it would be completely oops, sorry. A completely um closed off closed off section of the house where you would take your shoes off, probably you would put your umbrella down and just getting ready to stay in the house, to walk in the house, I would say. So while I build, let's set the scene for what's happening in 1908, both in the United States and around the world. I already covered a few of the facts in the first video, and I will continue here. I will start with general facts about 1908, followed by women achievements, and finishing with social aspects of 1908. Boy Scouts of America, though officially established in 1910, I believe, the scouting movement began in England in 1908, led by Lord Baden-Powell. Yeah, that's his name, Baden-Powell. The movement soon spread to the United States, influencing young boys and promoting outdoor activities and moral values. Today, I actually received some cookies from my coworker's daughter because she is part of Girl Scout. Yeah, and these are great. And I'm so sad that there will not be any more not cookies and cream, like s'mores. They're so good. Oh my god. Now, next is one of the most bizarre events that happened was the Tunguska event in Siberia in June 30th of 1908. I'm looking at what I'm doing right now. So in 1908, June 30th, a massive explosion flattened over 800 square miles of Siberian forest near the Tunguska River. Yep. Believed to be caused by a meteoroid. Yeah, meteoroid or comet. It remains one of the largest cosmic impacts in recorded history. This is a reminder of how much we were still learning about the natural world. We're probably still are right now. We're a little bit further down the line, but there's still so many questions that people have about whatever happened at that time. So, the Wright brothers made history by flying the first passenger airplane in 1908, solidifying their role as aviation pioneers. What is the pioneers? Pioneers. So I remember reading a few stories about that when I was younger, and I didn't know if it was like the first time that they flew a plane, or the first time that a plane flew, basically. But turns out they flew the plane. So, next up is the birth of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. On July 26, 1908, Attorney General Charles Bonaparte created what would eventually become the FBI. It started as a small group of investigators focusing on national crime. So basically, maybe a few men got along and were like, hey, we don't like what's happening. Let's just create a little group and start investigating. Next thing you know, they became the FBI that we know today. Also, it was the year of the first commercial credit union in the US. So before we had our like bigger banks, we also had the first commercial credit union established in Manchester, New Hampshire. I almost said like Manchester, UK, but it's in New Hampshire. Credit unions became a key financial resource for working class families. Also, something very cute, inspired by President Theodore Roosevelt, teddy bears became a popular toy for children in 1908. I didn't know that teddy bears were not invented but like inspired by Theodore Roosevelt. That makes sense now. Teddy, Theodore, duh. Wow, I didn't know that. So, next up, the tea bag was patented in 1908 by Thomas Sullivan, and Hershey's produced. I was like, what? The bar? Yeah, Hershey's produced its first mass-produced chocolate bar. It's giving Charlie in a Chocolate Factory, but it's like Hershey and the Chocolate Factory, probably. Anyway, so globally, architecture was advancing, and in Chicago, the Prairie style, championed by Frank Lloyd Wright, was gaining traction. Living around Chicago, I think this is like more than just it's a style. I think there are still a lot of houses that are representing this style. Meanwhile, in Europe, Art Nouveau was flourishing, emphasizing natural forms and ornate details that would inspire home designs for decades. Right now, as you can see, I am finishing up with the reception hall. Yes, and I realized that there was actually another door on this side of the wall and not on the other one. So I had to fix it. And again, open doors wouldn't be a thing at the time, so I had to get that right. And in the parlor room, I finished it with a lot, probably 10,000 or 15,000 simoleons worth of like paintings and portraits, etc. Maybe they would be free because these are heirlooms basically, but I didn't want to like save too much money, and again, they wouldn't have that much like a backyard that is very well decorated. So I had to find a way to like not waste but use that money. So continuing with the facts, we're gonna talk about the women in the early 1900s. So this was also a pivotal time for women. The suffrage movement was gaining ground, not gaining around. The was gaining ground with women pushing for voting rights in countries like the US and the UK. Imagine like 100+ years ago, they were pushing for being able to vote, and right now they're not thinking about getting rid of it, but it still doesn't have the value that it should have, because no one is contesting men's rights, right? But let's not talk about that really. So the early 1900s, so like the 20th century, saw more women working around the home particularly in textile outside the home. So, yeah. Wait. I am a little lost. So, the early 1900s, so the 20th century, saw more women working outside the home, particularly in textile and domestic services. So, you would find more women in industries and working as maids, as housekeepers, etc. The suffragette movement gained traction, though women were still a decade away from voting rights, which happened in I think it was ratified in 1919, I believe. So, but on the other side of the Atlantic, very good news. Finland, actually, became the first country to grant women for full, why, oh my god, full suffrage in 1906. By 1908, women were serving as elected members of parliament, a groundbreaking achievement for women's rights globally, which I am glad it happened for everybody. At home, technological advancements like the vacuum cleaner and washing machine were beginning to ease the burden of household chores, freeing up time for women to engage in social and community activities. Imagine now not having to do the laundry yourself anymore and having the little robots to clean your floor. Amazing. Amazing. So around that time, Madam C.J. Walker became one of America's first self-made female millionaires by creating hair care products for African American women. Her success was a testament, yeah, testament for women's growing entrepreneurial spirit. So I think I watched the movie, but I don't remember it. I'm gonna have to rewatch it. On the other side again of the Atlantic, Marie Curie won her first, um, actually, her second Nobel Prize in 1911, becoming the first woman to win in two different scientific fields. I don't know why I said first. That is outrageous, and I'm so sorry about that. Her groundbreaking research in radioactivity changed the landscape of science and inspired women worldwide to pursue education. We love that. Now, going back to the US, Anna Jarvis. I don't know if you guys heard of her name. Anna Jarvis organized the first social observance of Mother's Day in 1908 in Grafton, West Virginia, as a way to honor mothers and their sacrifices. Again, that was like 100 something years ago. That's crazy. In 1908 again, Lola Baldwin was sworn as the first female police officer in the United States in Portland, Oregon. I've never been to Oregon, but now maybe I should. And thinking that it was so uncommon that everybody remembers her name as being the first one, that's actually crazy. Middle class women embraced new ideas of wellness, such as physical fitness and healthy eating. Gymnastics and calisthenics were calisthenics? Wait. Calisthenics. Wow. I never thought it was calisthenics. I'm having a hard time right now. Oh my god. They were very common, as were outdoor activities like cycling and tennis. Married women often couldn't own properties independently and of their husbands or sign contracts. So they couldn't own properties without their husbands. However, the Married Women's Property Acts passed in the late 1900s and early wait. Oh, 19th century. I was like, what? 1900s? I'm sorry, I cannot read anymore. Passed in the late 19th and early 20th century in various US states. We're beginning to grant women more rights to own and manage property. That's awesome. But, of course, there were like backlash, obviously. Women were paid significantly less than men for the same work, and many jobs were explicitly reserved for men. Right now, we're still having this issue, to be quite honest with you. So, women were avid readers of novels and magazines and cookbooks, just like me right now, which is very awesome to see. So authors like Edith Wharton and L.M. Montgomery, author of Anne of Green Gables, published in 1908, were very popular. I should probably read these books just just to be on the same page as everybody, I believe. So, continuing with women achievements in 1908. Yep. But I'm gonna take a moment to pause and like going back to the video. Right now, I doing the parents' room. I wanted to use the same kind of beds because even though they would have a little bit of money at the time, they wouldn't really like splurge because again, it's 1908. No one would have like a big TV in the room or something like that, or lamps that are crazy intricate. So I wanted to have a little bit more like toned colors, and still keeping in mind that they would still splurge a little bit because everybody that knows someone at the time, well, no one actually is still alive who knew someone at the time, but everybody's grandmas or great grandparents, and if you've seen a house at the time, this is the fourth bedroom that I was talking about. You know that these people really had a very cluttered home, but I didn't want it to be too cluttered so it doesn't look unhistorical, if that makes sense. And also they would have like a dresser in like in this little section of the house based on the plans, so I wanted it to look as much as these plans as possible, so without like deviating from what the house actually looks like. And you're gonna see it throughout the build and everything that came with it. So continuing with the achievements. In Germany, Melita Benz invented the paper coffee filter, revolutionizing how coffee was made, and I am so proud of her. Oh my god, like imagine drinking coffee with like the grounds. Disgusting. Fashion was also evolving, with women beginning to adopt less restrictive clothing. Although corsets were still the norm, shorter skirts and simpler designs were emerging, symbolizing a shift towards greater freedom. We love that. The Gibson Girl, a creation of illustrator Charles Dana Gibson, became the idealized representation of modern womanhood. This independent, stylish, and athletic woman was celebrated in popular culture and marked the evolution roles of women in society. And I've never seen or heard of the Gibson Girl. This is like something else that I will have to research because I didn't really know anything about that before. So in the build right now, I am adding the lamps, and they look very tame in terms of color, but again, they wouldn't have something too bright because most of these would be either electricity, and electricity wasn't that not popular but like that strong at the time, or they would be like, I forgot the word. What's I don't know. There would be something else. Like there's a word that I've been thinking about, but my brain decided to not give it to me at all. So let's finish with the little facts about 1908. So electricity was becoming more widespread, like I said, in urban areas, powering lights, appliances, and streetcars. All the appliances in this house are still off the grid, but they look a little more modern in a way. So universities and institutions of higher learning were being established worldwide. For example, the University of Hong Kong was founded in 1908, becoming one of the oldest institutions in Asia. That's awesome. And medical advances. Antiseptic practices in hospitals became more common, reducing the risk of infection during surgery. Public health initiatives focused on improving sanitation, clean drinking water, and vaccination campaigns were on the rise. We love that. Awesome. And W.E.B. Du Bois, that's his name. Du Bois. Yep. Web Du Bois or W.E.B. He was, oh, I don't know if um they were Web Du Bois. That's crazy. That's a nice name. That's not really nice, but it's a very nice acronym, I would say. They were advocating for African American rights and wrote extensively about race, inequality, and justice in the US. Not that there would be a reason why he wouldn't talk about injustice, but it's justice, influencing early civil rights movements. I've never heard of this person before, which goes to show that they only teach us about the basics of history and not go into much details about it. And in the build, I have 71 simoleons left, and I had to sell a few things in order to build like a backyard. Not, I don't know, but like I went overboard, like I said, with the portraits, but I did not want to get rid of them, like not too much. So I had to sell a little bit to get like the 2,000 simoleons back. And continuing with the facts, the Bosnian crisis began. Wait, the Bosnian crisis began in 1908 when Austria-Hungary, at the time they were like one country, annexed Bosnia and Herzegovina. Herzegovina, that's how you pronounce it in English, right? Heightening tensions between major European powers. This event contributed to the lead up to World War One. So I don't know if you guys remembered your history lessons about WW1, World War One basically, but it just started with like tensions and then the killing of the king or the prince, and then well it happened sadly. And then also another, not really tragic, but another, not bad but tragic, I would say. In 1908, construction began. Why do I keep saying became instead of begin? I don't know. But in 1908, constructions began on the RMS Titanic in Belfast, Ireland. It was designed to be the largest and most luxurious passenger ship of its time and would tragically sink in 1912. We all know the Titanic, we all know what happened, and we're very sad about it. And just on the side, Rose should have given him like a little bit of a room on the door. Just saying. And in the build right now, they would have like a more polished backyard, but I didn't want to look like, oh, they have money, they've been having money. So right now, this is what the house looks like. And I tried to, as you can see, like the back looks pretty okay to me. And I tried to make it as I would say not relatable, but like historically accurate as possible. And I'm gonna show you the walkthrough of the house, which I am pretty proud of, I would say, because I'm not really someone who does a walkthroughs like that. This is the first part of the house with the little umbrella, and then this is the reception hall. That's not really a hall, but like a more cozy area. And this is the famous parlor that I was talking about, that I'm really proud of, with the way I put the portraits, and it looks pretty warm to me and I love it. This is the dining room with more portraits of more family members, and I think I would put it as like the dad put the bank the bank's architecture thingy on his wall. And this is the kitchen. As you can see, pretty of the grid, but looks more modern than the other one. This is the pantry. Oops. More that would be the same ice box as the last video, because they would have the exact same one. And this would be the upstairs. As you can see, yeah, I had a little bit of issues with the camera, but this is the bathroom. I just was like, yeah, one swoop and we're done. This would be the room of the youngest kid, like the baby. And this would be, I would say, the middle child. And then this would be the oldest. Like, maybe it would be a girl. She's not very girly, like Pink, but she's a girl. And this is the parents' room, and it looks oops, okay, pretty normal in my opinion. Like, not too decorated, but